Hello and welcome to another session of Learning with me. I'm Dr. Manjula. This is the first session of the non-core paper Culture, Diversity and Society. This paper attempts to introduce the concepts of culture, diversity and society to the students of BSc, BCom, BBA and BHM. All of us aim to work amidst society. We interact with people on everyday basis. When we are interacting with others, it is important to know the dynamics of these interactions. Being part of society, we'll have to understand the concept of society. We all practice various cultures. So, what is culture? It's important to understand these concepts. And that is precisely what this paper aims to do. So, before we understand other concepts, let us first try to attempt to understand the concept of society. On an everyday basis, we interact with a number of individuals, right from the time that we wake up till we go to bed. Just pause for a second and think of all the people that you've interacted with. Because of these interactions, relationships are formed. And these relationships are formed on the basis of various patterns. When we meet somebody, we either identify certain aspects of similarity between us and them or certain aspects of differences that we can identify with the other person. On the basis of this likeness, how similar we are, individuals form different associations. These could be on the basis of various aspects, such as professional similarities or uh, belonging to a certain kinship group, certain college or an institution for that matter, being members of the same gender. So, various aspects like this actually enables the formation of a certain pattern and groupings. And this becomes the foundation for various relationships. The term society is derived from the Latin word socius. Socius means association or companionship. So the concept of society is derived from a Latin word socius, which means association or companionship. So based on this word meaning, if we see, society is nothing but a larger group of individuals who are associated with each other. If we look at certain definitions of society, we'll be better able to understand this concept. Professor Wright defines society as a system of relationships that exist among individuals of the group. So, here the emphasis is on the relationships between individuals. And where are these individuals placed? They are not placed in vacuum, they are part of a certain group. So, according to Professor Wright, society is nothing but a system of relationships that exists among individuals of a group. Another definition emphasizes this concept of organizing individuals into well defined units. So, Linton says any group of people who have lived and worked together long enough to get themselves organized and to think of themselves as a social unit with well defined limits is a society. A.W. Green states it is the largest group in which individuals have relationships. Now that we've understood the concept of society, let us understand what is diversity. When I was giving the introduction to the concept of society, I said we form relationships based on likeness. So, is it only likeness that determines a relationship? Or do we also have relationships with people who are different from us? It's an important question. There is a lot of differences or diversity in any given society. If we look at our classrooms as a social unit, we can see that not all of the students are similar, be it height, weight, their orientation towards studies, their ability to speak or articulate in a given manner. There are a lot of differences. At the same time, we have a certain unifying factor, that is, we are all a part of a certain class. So, in the same way, in a particular group or a nation for that matter, we have various aspects that form the differences as well as that becomes the basis for likeness. So let's see what is cultural diversity. As a group, we can thrive only when we understand that not all of us are similar to us. We are bound to have differences. It could be even a small group of, say, two or three persons, a dyad or a triad. Even in a dyad or a triad, we can see that there are a lot of differences. So, first of all, we must understand that there are a large number of cultures. There are a lot of cultural diversities. When we recognize this, we begin to respect each other's differences. Otherwise, we are only focused on the similarities. When we understand that there are differences and it is natural to have different sorts of differences, then we automatically begin to respect each other's differences. Further, we need to acknowledge that all cultural expressions are valid. It should not become a biased or an self centered approach. We must understand the differences between individuals and also acknowledge the differences as something that is extremely valid. And then valuing what cultures must bring to the table. That is, a society becomes a wholesome unit only when we have this kind of differences. Just think of a classroom with no diversity at all. Every student secures 100 upon 100. Every student excels in a particular sport. Every student looks the same. How bland that world would be. Because of the diversities only, there is a richness to that particular social setting, isn't it? So we must identify what is that the other culture is bringing to us, because of which our lives are also enriched. So we must be able to appreciate that. In order to appreciate it, first we must understand these differences. Then, empowering diverse groups to contribute. So if we keep snubbing the other person just because they are not similar to us, neither will we grow nor will the other person grow. So celebrating differences, not just tolerating them, is very important. The acceptance must come from within. And when will this acceptance come? Only when we identify that there are differences and every difference is very valid. When that kind of an understanding comes within an individual, it becomes easy to appreciate what the other culture is offering to us. And that becomes a good society. So, what is this concept of cultural diversity? As we saw, the pluralism in a particular group is what we can say is cultural diversity. And speaking of India as a nation, it's extremely diverse. There are various factors that contribute to its plurality. It could be region, religion, language, ethnicity, geographical features, and many more, which is the basis for the plurality of India as a nation. And at the same time, we also have certain unifying features. This paper, Culture, Diversity and Society, aims to understand these differences, to appreciate those differences, and also to understand that particular unifying factor that brings the nation together. So let's understand what is diversity. As I was earlier stating, the concept of diversity encompasses acceptance and respect to the other person. Acceptance about something that is not similar to what I offer. Acceptance about other cultures. India happens to be the seventh largest nation in the world, and it's the second most populous nation in the world. According to 2011 census, there are more than 121 crore people in the Indian subcontinent. And these people project so many differences, so many diverse characteristics. Yet together we form the Indian society, Bharata, Bharatavarsha, India. So India has become an epitome of diversity and unity. In literary terms, diversity means differences, literally speaking. But in social context, this term is much more specific. It has a very specific meaning. It means collective differences among people. That is, those differences which mark one group of people as different from another group. So that is diversity. These diversities can be in terms of race, language, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, socioeconomic status, age, physical abilities, religious beliefs, political beliefs, ideologies, like this, innumerable ways of diversities. So, what are the prominent diversities found in Indian context? We already saw that India is a extremely diverse nation with population that espouses innumerable differences. This nation has certain differences or diversities, and some of them are geographical diversity, religious diversity, cultural diversity, racial or ethnic diversity, and linguistic diversity. So, is this an exhaustive list? Do we have only these diversities and nothing else? No. This is just an indicative list of the diversities that we have as a nation. We'll understand each of these concepts in further lectures. Thank you for learning with me. Let's meet up again.